The funny thing about all my work is that I love the enterprise of science, and yet I also love the absurdity of the gestures that are involved in thinking you can actually understand things. Some fabulous niceties to working with wood. First of all, wood is very plastic. I mean, in the sense that you can make it do anything. And I've got all these machines made out of wood, and making a machine out of wood gives it this wonderful quality. It's of being like kind of a cartoon of itself. So it's a machine, so it is doing something, but it's also, in order to make a wood machine, you have to make all the parts bigger than you would if you make them out of metal, just to make them stand up to the abuse that they're going to take. And that makes them look kind of like cartoon images of the gear rather than the gear. It is the gear, but it's also a cartoon of a gear. And it gets to be a little bit of a commentary on the mechanism at the same time as it is the mechanism. And the other thing is that my pieces are interactive. I want people to play with them. And metal machines are scary. Even funny metal machines are scary because everyone knows that metal can cut you. It's a little dangerous looking. And wood, even though you can actually get injuries here, but wood is pretty friendly. It's friendly. So I got this friendly kind of cartoony kind of look to these things, and they, and that kind of draws you in. It makes you feel like it's okay to touch them, and that is what I want. I want people to play with them because most of the experience you're going to get is by being inside of it, as it were, and making it happen. And in this particular piece, you're in this room where I'm sitting right now. You work this handle here, and you're making everything happen in the entire gallery, but you can't see anything that you're doing. You can see none of the effects you're having. So you kind of need to find somebody else to help you have the full experience. You need to get someone to go in the other room and look at it and then say, okay, I'll crank it for you. It's kind of, I'll do you if you do me kind of thing, Yeah, I always thought of the Deus Ex Machina as it was about God coming down and setting things straight, but not really, because what it really was about, it was really about clearing the stage for the next act of a Greek play. All these dead bodies are piled up at the end of some battle scene, and somehow or other you got to get the stage clear so that people can come on and deliver their soliloquy. So so they would make these machines often, they were basically huge boxes with people in them. And the boxes would come out on stage, and they would open a little door in the bottom or the side, and they would grab a body and drag an actor, that is, and drag them into the box, and then go to the next actor and drag them into the box. So it was kind of like God as a machine, really, coming in, to do it. But it was also a contrivance. It was not God literally. It was the director, as it were. It was the stage needing to be cleared. So there was always this quality of God as our own creation as well, that has a certain appeal to me. In the title of the show, it makes that allusion to me, that it's about not only about God as a machine and God coming in to clear up the mess, but it's also about us making God so that we can clear up our messes. That's the only reason for God's existence, is because of the damn messes we're making. It's actually related to my own heart problems. It kind of came out of that, although it started. This part right here, you can see, was. This is actually from an engraving in the 19th century. A 19th century French physiologist, Etienne Jules Marais, did an engraving of one of his mechanisms that he was using to simulate heart action. And so this part here is kind of a very unfaithful copy of his mechanism. And I just, a year after I discovered Marais' work, I discovered that I had an aortic aneurysm and needed to have heart surgery. So I went in, and Marais, by the way, is one of the fathers of medical imaging. So it's kind of curious because they're using his equipment, as it were, to diagnose me later on. So here I am being diagnosed with something that's related to, it comes right out of Murray's work, and I'm thinking about his work, but I'm also kind of worried about my heart. I mean, they say everything you do is a self-portrait. Well, you know, I mean, the all over the place quality of these pieces is, I think, a pretty accurate portrait of, you know, who I am. One of the things I'm trying to get people to have, look at things, you don't understand them, I think, in the way that your body understands something that you're actually physically doing. And even though this is not, I mean, you can make something that you feel, you know, that's just purely visual, that draws you in enough that you actually feel, you know, that your body is now part of the equation. You know, the way I make things, I really just want people physically involved. I want them actually working on things. I want them, because I think there's kind of these sort of childhood understandings that people have that they've forgotten they have, because we've gotten so verbal and so, you know, and so visual in our culture that we forget that our bodies are also thinking machines, and not just our minds, and that they're full of information that we have forgotten how to access. We remember when we're playing, like if we get down and play with a kid, you know, you suddenly remember stuff, you know, stuff starts coming up that, you know, that you just completely lost connection to. And, you know, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to get people to play. It's safe, it's wood, you know, it's life and death though, you know, but it's a game. On one table, you're asked to trace a root from a word that you think describes where you are now. There's a chart in front of you with words on it, and then go from word to word until you get to your idea of heaven. And it's an aphasiograph because there's a pneumatic setup. That one, you know, it's transmitting the signal from, you know, you're answering this questionnaire to another table, and that table is drawing out your root from word to word, but without the words. So it's an aphasiograph. It stripped the words from your, you know, from your root. And, you know, different people have a different personal path. I'm hoping to help everyone, you know, myself as well, to get to this kind of new conclusions, you know, something where you actually kind of bridge that gap of these childhood understandings and the adult understandings that we have now, because, you know, I mean, I'm hopefully living in both worlds.